Hey, this is Anand, and in this video, I'm going to show you a little bit of stuff about Pinterest, how you can use it for business, and some best practices to follow while you're expanding your Pinterest brand. Now, first, a brief description of Pinterest. Think of it kind of like a massive online scrapbook. So, what people do is they create their own little books that have a single category. So, for example, they're called boards. And here we have a board called Translation Fails. And on this board, I've simply gone and added 50 different translation fail pictures. Just funny pictures that are all within the same category. And many times people will create boards that have hundreds and sometimes even thousands of pictures in them. So as you create these different boards, you're able to make it to where if somebody is interested in whatever it might be, so maybe somebody's looking up translation fails. And as they look it up, they keep seeing that there's this one board that is all translation fails. So they like that, they follow the board, and now every single time you add something new to that board, whoever might be following it is going to get a notification to say, hey, check out the new thing that this board you showed interest in is what they posted. Now, when it comes to using Pinterest for business, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Pinterest is unique because it it has a very specific audience. Its audience is primarily women, and primarily women with a higher level of income than average. So this makes it ideal for marketing because it definitely directs its attention towards decision makers. In addition to that, Pinterest is great for SEO because it allows you to be able to latch on to the content created by other people and associate it with your brand. So, for example, each one of these pictures that have been posted throughout the internet by other people, you don't claim any ownership over them. You don't have to create or find these yourselves. Yet, because you put these all into your board, the board that is owned by the Master Global Business website, it'll make it to where an SEO, if somebody looks for that picture, your name is now attached to that picture. In addition to that, using Pinterest, it makes it to where you can build a relationship with people, show that you're a real person with interests and desires and passions, and so it lets you make your business a little bit more personal. So some examples of this might be that in addition to talking about business related things like translation fails is directly related to translation localization services. You might have a Pinterest board that shows success stories about global marketing. Maybe it's a board that is full of good global ads, or maybe it's a board that's full of information or different examples of cultures around the world. But you can also show things that are just interesting. I don't have a direct correlation to your business. Things like travel pictures. Perhaps you have a marketing campaign that's set up to help people expand their business to South America. And so you might have a couple of boards that shows interesting things about South America. So maybe one board is all about Brazil, and you have pictures of different cities in Brazil, different cool sites in Brazil, different landscapes, pretty pictures of sunsets and beaches and forests, all related to Brazil. So that way, somebody who's considering doing business in South America is more than likely going to be searching that, and now the SEO will be tied to Master Global Business for interesting things, and they will end up following Master Global Business. And embedded within your different boards, you have different call to actions, perhaps the infographics that explain more information about different aspects of global business. Maybe it's something that talks about your different services and offerings. A great example might be, let's say you create a board that's dedicated to um, maybe it's cool cities in China. Doing business in China is a large interest to people who want to do global business. And so this board is just filled with hundreds and hundreds of pictures of different Chinese cities. Yet perhaps maybe every 10 pictures that you pin to this board on China, maybe you have a picture that shows a screenshot of the World Quest magazine. So now, as people are scrolling through your Pinterest board, you can have it to where on occasion you see oh, what is this World Quest magazine that keeps popping up? Boom, people click on it, it links to the World Quest magazine subscription page, and now you have a new potential subscriber. Just to show an example of what this might look like from another company, let's just type in business in China, see what pops up. So someone who's interested in business in China, now you can come down here and see a bunch of information. How much to budget for 30 days in China, 10 tips for import wholesale products in China, doing business in China fundamentals. So you'll see here there's a lot of infographics, pictures regarding food. You've got a travel picture, and by looking up the different types of topics you think people may be interested in or your customers may be interested in, this can give you ideas of different things that you can create boards about. In addition to that, by going through here, you're able to find different things that could be of interest um, when it comes to writing blog material or different content for your other social medias. Here you can see that somebody pinned a picture of a book. And so from Master Global Business website, perhaps you take all the books that are talking about China and throw them into the different boards that you have that talk about China with a link that goes directly to the Master Global Business website so that they could purchase a book. Because the only way that they would find these things is if they had some type of interest in doing business in China. So Pinterest, all in all, is something that can be used not just to enhance your SEO presence online, it also helps to show you a real person behind the company, helps you connect and engage with your customers, and kind of sets you across as an expert in the field because you're going to be able to create different infographics and different relative useful information regarding whatever topic you're targeting. And when it comes to creating these infographics, I've got a whole separate video that talks about a service called Canva. This makes it super easy to create these things, and typically that's stuff that you're just going to want to outsource. So perhaps you create your own 10 tips to etiquette in doing business with people from China. So you write down the 10 tips, you share that with the outsourcer, tell the outsourcer you want them to make a infographic around that information, and then you pay them 40 bucks, whatever it might be. So then once you have that, you post that infographic to Pinterest. Pinterest has its own ad platform where you can advertise that to people who meet a certain demographic and psychographic. And now that will be able to help enhance your engagement with people on Pinterest. And in this search bar, you can look up just about anything, and you'll find literally millions and millions of different options. So maybe let's just type in Brazil. So if there's an ad campaign that's just setting up that is targeted to people who have a desire to do business in Brazil, find out what do people find interesting in Brazil. So we see an infographic and we see people interested in learning the basics of the language, knowing where to go in Brazil. So perhaps you have within your board that's all about Brazil, maybe you have a section that's all about interesting places to go to, but then also maybe you create little pictures that is just a solid image. You have the Master Global Business logo in the corner, and it says the common phrase in English and the common phrase in Portuguese underneath that. And to have an outsourcer create 50 or 100 or 200 or even more than that of these images with the translated common phrases is so super cheap because it's just a data entry person that's being paid $5 an hour. Within 1 hour, they'll probably be able to knock out 10 or more of these things, which means for 40 or 50 bucks, you can have yourself set up with a bunch of custom content that's interesting and engaging and separates you from your competition. So that's just a brief description of Pinterest. There's a lot of useful tools about Pinterest. So here's business.pinterest.com. Show you case studies of other companies, how they use Pinterest. And then by a simple Google search of using Pinterest for business, you will find a crazy amount of information on best practices of how to maximize your effectiveness using Pinterest. So that's all in this video. Carry on to the next video and you will find information on the various other social medias. Thank you. Bye for now.